What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com here. Welcome to Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 64. I've got my main man, Kendall, Lefty, McKee in the house. We're both sporting our MLB caps, New Era caps here. He's got the Dodgers. I've got the Tigers. What's up, Lefty? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? I would love if New Era would sponsor this show.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, they got to be making quite a bit of coin, given the fact that to get any New Era hat, it's like $50 now.
I know. I remember I used to buy them for like $30.
Yep. I know. And I'm a little bit older than you. So like I remember getting them for like $23-25 at Tiger Stadium back in the day.
Yeah.
That was my jam. I had a room full of hats when I was a kid. I had like
Me
just
too.
a collection of all the MLB teams. Like, did you have one of those hat racks hanging on the wall that like clipped your hat? That my buddy and I each had like 2 or 3 hat racks. They would like our parents hung them on the wall in our room and they would just clip all of the hats. So it was like a decoration at the same time as you could just use it as a utility and grab the hat you wanted to wear that day. It was pretty
Absolutely.
sick.
Yeah. Me and my buddy Matt, he actually followed through with it, but we wanted to collect every hat from every team. And like, so I guess I've always been like a collector, but what he did was he put them in division alignment and he would
That's awesome.
He would move the hats as the
standings. No way. That's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, so I've loved baseball from the beginning.
Yeah, that's next level. That's like top level little kid baseball fandom. I love that. That's amazing.
Yep.
I'm trying to do as much of that as I can as an adult, honestly. I'm sitting here in my nice new office in my house in Franklin, Tennessee. We've been, that's like my personal win of the week is that I love my office right now. It's like there's no, you can't see any decor or anything like that in the background, but I'm living it up, man. I got all my cards around me and you guys are just going to have to trust me on how much I love my office. So I'm trying, but what I realized though is that like I'm doing all these things that I used to do as a kid, like going to the batting cages and like playing on the floor with my dog. I got turntables. I got turntables for Christmas.
What?
Like, spinning records. Like I'm doing all these things that I used to do when I was a kid. It's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah. So happy New Year, everybody. It's Monday, January 9th. If you didn't catch us on January 2nd, we're going live Monday mornings. And this is season 2. So this is episode 2 of season 2. It's actually our 64th episode. Oh, my shoes is in the house. What's up? Oh, my shoes. Good to see you. So yeah, man, I'm ready to jump into it here. I've got a lot to talk about. We're going to go for about an hour today. So, Kendall, why don't you lead us off though? You got anything you want to say before we get into L of the week? Anything you want to talk about?
Man, I just want to say thanks for all of you guys that are in our community. I get consistently at this point reached out to with questions and with just like saying you love the show and all that kind of stuff. Like, continue to do that. It pumps me and Paul up to do those kind of things. We do this because we love to do it. Just like what Paul talked about with him, like enjoying his office, we truly do enjoy cards, and we enjoy talking about sports cards with you guys. That's why we wanted the live feature so you guys could enjoy it and talk to us as well. So, man, this community is really important to both of us, and so continue to jump on in and send us questions if you want. If we can help in any way, continue to do that. It's been one of the most fun parts for me. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Kendall and I, we love cards. We love doing the Sports Card Strategy Show. We both kind of made a commitment to ourselves and to each other, mainly because we love doing this show. And you guys are all a big part of why we love doing the show. It gives us an opportunity to not make, the show is all about making money, flipping sports cards. But it's like we can't always be making money and we can't always be spending money. And so one of the reasons why Kendall and I have done the show for this long is because like we have to fill in the gaps. You know, it's fun to fill in the gaps with talking about it and talking about the strategy of it. And you guys are all a big part of that. So I echo Kendall's thoughts there. Keep the feedback and the questions coming. And we want to make this show about you guys. So definitely jump in with comments and questions. And we have had a great response to the offer of going premium free for a year at no off season. There's at least a handful of people that email after every show. So email me at paul@nooffseason.com if you haven't already. And it's easy. I'm super nice to deal with on email. I'm gonna send you an email back right away.
Email.
Yeah, it's hit and miss when you see me in real life, but on email I'm always super nice. Gives me a chance to like catch my breath and be like, I'm gonna write something nice to this person. So email me at paul@nooffseason.com. I'm gonna hook you up with a free year of premium content at nooffseason.com. There's a lot there. And we try to weave our banter into the segments. So we're going to jump into L of the week. Kendall, what do you got for your L of the week?
You know, man, I really don't have like a big L of the week. Other than I am anxiously waiting a couple of big cards to get to my house from eBay like Authenticator. And like when you do that, it just takes a little bit longer. I'm excited because both of them were able to get authenticated. Some big autos that I bought over the Christmas break. And that Trevor Lawrence auto will be here, and he's going to be in the playoffs, and so that's exciting. But I think that is a fun process, and I'm looking forward to opening that little like eBay thing.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah, me neither. I hated the idea of it at first, but I think as time has gone on and I've seen some stuff on Twitter about it and things, I'm a little more excited about it. The only thing that I am a little nervous about is when they take that out of the card and they put it in another thing. Like it was in a top loader when I bought it, so like just the transfer of that makes me a little nervous. But I am appreciative of them going an extra step further and wanting to authenticate. It gives me hope that eBay is going to do something about the unpaid bid system eventually, once they figure out what they can do and what they are allowed to require. I'm just assuming that with the assumption that they're going that far to do the authenticating piece, it makes me think that they know what the issues are with their products and with their they see their pain points, I guess is what I'm saying. And it gives me hope that they are going to fix the no payment, that kind of stuff. You know, when I see like, you know what, I'm going to talk about this one right now. I was pretty upset, and I sent this to you, that the Damar Hamlin autos were going for like $20,000 to $40,000 when he was in the hospital. I thought it was, we've talked about people selling cards at their peak, like Pele. We literally talked about it the same week that this happened.
Yeah, we talked about it like earlier the day that it happened. So the Damar Hamlin injury happened after we had recorded our show last week.
And I just saw the card community do some things that I wasn't necessarily proud of when that happened. Like people started posting his autos and stuff. And first off, like, props to you if you knew you had a Damar Hamlin auto, because for a cornerback, like for you to know that you had one of those, that shows that you know your collection pretty well. But I just was, the way it was handled with the card community, cards were going for $25,000 to $40,000. It felt super weird. I wasn't sure whether I was more upset with the people buying the card for $40,000 and realizing that like that you're never going to get that for it in the future, or like the fact that I thought that most of those things were going to go unpaid, or if I thought like people were just like trying to make a quick buck on somebody literally almost losing their life on national television. Like at that point, we didn't know anything. We didn't know if he was okay. Like, he was still in critical condition, had not woken up, anything. I just felt really gross about that. And so, although they are correct by, like, if you take the emotion out of it and everything, they are correct that they were selling that card at their peak. I would assume that nobody paid for those auctions on eBay. I would assume that did not go through. And I don't know. I just felt gross about that. Is that okay? Like I don't know. Am I in the wrong by that? I know that you probably have a different take.
No. I'm not gonna say that anyone's wrong for their feeling on that. I think everyone's allowed to feel how they feel about those situations. It's something that, the only other thing I could think of is like Hank Gathers tragic passing on the court back in the I think I want to say early 90s is probably when that was. 1990, maybe 1989, 1990, that season. Anyway, like that's really the only thing that came to mind as anything close to the DeMar Hamlin situation. And so when you have that happen, we've had NFL guys get unfortunately paralyzed on the field. That would be the other thing, but that's different than almost losing your life on the field. So basically my point is, when you have the situation where this has never happened before, people don't know how to react. So I'm not going to really blame anyone for doing what they do or reacting how they react. I think it's just, I think the right thing to do is to kind of like send prayers to him and his family. And if you want to post about doing that on social media, fine, because that's one of those things where you're like building up awareness of it. Like people might not know about it, like non-sports fans and stuff. So the way that I look at it is like, I don't say anything in those situations. Like I feel the way that I feel, and I might talk to my friends or family about it, and that's it. And that's kind of what you did with me. You were like, I just don't really feel right about this. So no, I don't blame you for that at all, man. I mean, but like, here's another one right now. Like there's one, I'm not sharing my screen, but I'm looking at one on eBay that the auction ends in 13 hours and 9 minutes. There's 135 bids on a 2021 Chronicles Draft Prestige Extra Points Auto, which I think is probably the one. It might be like his only one. I don't know. Authenticity guarantee. It's up to $97,100. What I hope, Kendall, and I could be wrong, but what I hope, what I hypothesize is that maybe this money is going to charity. Like maybe this money, maybe there's that element to it. I feel like if there's that element to it, that's amazing. If there's not that element to it, I just have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going, like, I don't blame the seller. I'm not the type of person that's going to be angry or mad at the seller. Because if I were the seller, like I wouldn't be expecting that. I wouldn't be like, I would maybe be like, I'm going to list this just because like maybe somebody will want it. I'd be expecting maybe like $20 because the DeMar Hamlin auto before that, like, I don't even know if anyone would have bought it. Like it probably would have gone unsold on eBay. I could be wrong, but like, so I can't fault the seller because I don't know if they're expecting that amount of money. And I don't think listing an auto for any reason, I don't think listing a card at any point in time, I'm not going to like be mad at the person. I think what maybe gets people more emotional about it, I don't want to speak for you, is the amount of money that person is now going to get because that happened to that other person on national TV in front of that audience. So I would hope that this win, if people are getting a windfall of cash off of DeMar Hamlin's unfortunate situation, nearly tragic situation, could still be, we don't even know to this day. We don't know how his life is going to be yet. So it could still be, worse than we all think. If this person is benefiting, if this person is going to make $100,000 that I just mentioned on this auto, I would hope they would kind of like consider doing something with it other than keeping it for their own personal benefit. But we don't know their situation either. We don't really know who this, so it's hard for me to judge, but I don't blame you for being upset about it. We would like to know what you all think in the audience. Like, I mean, we're not trying to make this a big thing on the Sports Card Strategy Show, but if you have an opinion on this type of situation, we would like to know about it. Oh My Shoes is being very gracious to us, saying you guys are awesome and have been informative for someone getting back in the hobby like me. So we appreciate the positive feedback there. Oh My Shoes.
It is early in the morning for Oh My Shoes.
Yeah, we're like, it's funny because Oh My Shoes is usually like, God, I missed the live stream. That sucks. Sorry, I missed it, guys. He's usually like that kind of dude. So
it's like 4 or 5 a.m.
We're going earlier because Kendall and I have other stuff we need to get to on Mondays. So we're going earlier now. And here's Oh My Shoes. So we love it. We love the audience participation. So Kendall, I was going to say something though, bringing it back to the eBay, bringing it back. So this is actually kind of on the same topic because we're talking about DeMar Hamlin and these autos. But the reason why you brought it up is because eBay sort of fixing the issues that we've talked about. For those of you who haven't listened to the Sports Card Strategy Show, we have talked at length on multiple episodes in the past about something that drives Kendall and I nuts. And that is when somebody either wins an auction or even more than that, goes back and forth with a best offer with a seller. Because to me, that's even more like blatant, like I want this card, here's an offer for it, and then doesn't pay for it. So that's happened to me as a seller. I've always bought every single card that I've ever either won or made an offer on and had the offer accepted. I've always bought every single card. But I do want to say that over the holiday season, I don't remember if it was right after Christmas or before Christmas, but I made some offers on, I mentioned some Anthony Edwards, Jalen Green, and Cade Cunningham PSA 10s on this show that I recently bought for what I think is super cheap. And I can talk about the prices if you guys want me to. Just throw something in the comments. I'll tell you what I bought them for. But point is, I made offers on some of them and the offers were accepted. And I noticed a little bit of a different user experience on the eBay app when I did this. It was a little bit of a different screen by default now. And I wonder if eBay actually updated this. So what happened was my card was immediately charged after the seller accepted the offer. I got an email that was like, congratulations, you've won this card. And it was because the seller accepted the offer. So I think they made a change. And I think the change that they made was if you make an offer, that's binding, and then your card gets charged immediately. So but for those of you who don't know, before that, what we talked about on this show, you would make an offer, the seller would accept your offer, and then you would have to go in and pay. Well, if you never went in and paid, it would go unpaid, and then the seller was left to deal with the fact that you didn't pay for it. So the seller would have to figure something out. I think that's a new change. Kendall, have you experienced that? And I don't know if you confirm that, but that happened with a couple of mine. So I think that's new. I think they addressed.
Wow, that's
so good.
They're doing things that I'm suggesting, and I don't even know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if they announced that, but I've experienced that as a buyer.
Man, I think that is if I've missed that in the hobby, that is on me. Like for somebody who's should be as knowledgeable as anyone else, especially doing a couple of podcasts about things in the hobby. If I've missed that eBay did that, that's on me, guys. I apologize. But
that's okay. I picked up the slack for you just now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, real quick before. So I do want to say I like as a content creator though, I'm going to cut you some slack here, Kendall, because what annoys me a lot is like being a content creator that ends up being like a media member. And what I mean by that is in the sports card industry, I've noticed there's a lot of the same type of duplicate content by content creators. And I think that comes from people who, not that they're not good content creators, but what makes us different, what makes our show different is that we talk about what we're actually doing. We talk about the lessons that we learn from what we're actually doing as a practitioner within the hobby. And I think a lot of the reason why you see duplicate content elsewhere is because they're just looking at either press releases or other websites that get press releases from the companies like eBay, the companies like PWCC, like Panini, like Topps. You just see a lot of regurgitation of content out there because basically a lot of content creators are just going to a website that has press releases from these companies and they're reading hobby news. We don't do that on this show. We talk about what we're doing. So I want to give Kendall a pass on this because because you didn't experience that, that's not that big of a deal. Good thing is I was buying cards. I experienced it. That's why we talk about what we're doing on this show. Anyway, that's my little soapbox. Back to you, Kendall.
All I'm saying is, like, if I did miss that, I'm extremely excited about that because I think like buy it now is very different than auctions. I'm okay with like if you put a bid in on an auction and then like I'm sure like you're doing the same thing I'm doing where you're bidding on like 3 or 4 of the same card at the same time, especially if it's a lower pop or a higher pop count card. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I won one. And you might be, at work or doing something else where when it closes, you could be asleep when it closes, blah, blah, blah. I'm fine with that. What I get frustrated with is people submitting offers and then not paying like after you accept it for like days. I'm like, what did you have to go haggle somebody for $100? Like, I mean, I'm not selling cards for like 15, 20 grand, like you don't have to go get a loan for my cards.
I know.
It's like,
I know. I try to be empathetic of people, but sometimes I'm like, that was like a $40 card. Like,
I know
you definitely spent way more than $40 today on a lot of other things and you just don't realize it.
I know. I saw this is a little bit different. It's around sports betting, which is like around the same thing that we do, but not really
Sure.
the same. So when the Bills and Bengals game got canceled, I saw a guy comment on our subtweet another tweet, and he said like, when are they going to continue the game? I had all of my rent money on the Bengals, and it's due this week.
Whoops.
And I'm like, that tough nuts, my friend. That's you shouldn't have been gambling. You
shouldn't have been gambling. Yeah, it's easy for us to say. There are people with kind of some serious issues out there, but I mean, that's why you see like, so this is a societal issue that will continue to grow because of the legalization of the sports gambling.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's not a bad thing, but it's a thing where, now be prepared for, we've already seen it in the ads, the Fanball, DraftKings, MGM, all the sportsbook ads now say, don't bet more than you can afford to lose, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you're right. That's a tough situation. Oh, my shoes is commenting. What a nerd. With some emoji laughing, crying. All right. Well, so Kendall, that was your L. That was basically that whole rant was Kendall's L, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, that was good content, I think. So good L of the week. Now I'm going to go on another bit of a quick rant here. So you guys know I love slab stocks. I don't know them. I've never talked to them. So I don't have any relationship with slab stocks. I just like what they do. So guys, if you guys are listening, I think it's Aaron and Nate, if you want to hook up and collaborate on some content with Kendall and I, we'd be all about it. But anyway, in the meantime, we're going to keep giving you guys love for what you do because you just put out great content. So I like the daily slab. Occasionally I comment on some of the stuff that comes in from the daily slab. So basically my L of the week is for anyone that bought these cards, which is the 2022 Mosaic football released at the end of December. And, Slab Stocks is reporting that Card Ladder sales are starting to trickle in here. And so there was the one that I think I'm most confused with, and Kendall, maybe you can course correct me here, or people in the audience can disagree and educate me as to why this might happen. But the Brees Hall 2022 Mosaic 1 of 1 for $1,750. Okay. To me, that's an L for whoever bought that. Now, maybe there's someone who I know that they're like, we all know the Jets community led by Gary Vee and all those people who love the Jets, I get it. And I do agree that Breece Hall is a stud and could be a stud in spite of his ACL injury this year. But let's be honest here, guy. And I understand that this is a one of one. I get that. But also, this is Mosaic, first of all, the Mosaic release, and it's a running back. So, like, what am I missing here? To me, that's an L. The second one is Brock Purdy, 2022 Mosaic White rookie auto out of 25 for 3,100. This one makes a little more sense to me because there is a world in which Brock Purdy could be a starting NFL quarterback for the long term.
He is,
and he is right now, and he is in a great situation right now for himself to like potentially go far. So there's that. Good point, Kendall. But like to me, this is an L. I think mainly because it's a Mosaic release. Honestly, that's where it starts for me, because really when this starts to happen, where like we saw it with the Don Russ, Mac Jones last year, like when these early releases come out before Prism and Select and even the higher end releases than those, these cards go down in value regardless of who the player is, regardless of how the player performs, because these aren't the releases that are the investable releases. I get that it's a one of one. I get that this is like a white auto out of 25. But Kendall, am I wrong on this?
No, I think I'm a little less surprised than you are at these things. I typically usually like the designs of Mosaic cards. I think Mosaic was one of the first cards that I ended up actually owning when I first started back in the hobby. And so when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, okay, Breece Hall was phenomenal in the couple of games that he was in the starting role. And this Jets team is on the up, I think. I mean, like, just even the way that they played yesterday, to force the Dolphins into that position. Of course, they probably should have won that game, considering the Dolphins were down to like basically a high school quarterback. But what I'm saying is like I think the Jets are doing something. Robert Saleh is doing some good stuff. Like if they figure their quarterback situation out, I think this team is really, really good. Their defense is really good. And so, I could see how that card had good value next year, especially if he comes back and is just destroying on a Jets team that's really good. I think enough Jets fans are really excited that they almost got into the playoffs. Like just the fact that they were that close, people are like, "Oh crap!" Like next year
for Jets cards. Yeah, that's true.
And I would say the Gary V stuff does have a lot to do with it, because people got to card collecting. A lot of people got to card collecting from Gary V.
Yep.
And so, or card investing. And so, that one I think is like, okay, it's like meh. The Brock Purdy one I also think is meh. Like I'm meh on both of them, but because this is a starting quarterback on a playoff team, and he was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
So like people are dying for him to be good for the storyline.
Yep.
Like how many times have you seen Tom Brady's combine tape? Like where he's like, they'll show it on ESPN. He'll destroy some team for like 500 yards. And then they'll cut to the Scott Van Pelt and it shows Tom Brady running in that like big old huge sleep shirt basically. And it was just like the craziest thing. I think people are still trying, like we all love storylines, so if Brock Purdy's good, if there ends up being a competition between him and Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo next year, that would be just I think 49ers camp is going to be wild if all three of them end up still on that roster. And I think Brock Purdy has the best argument if he goes deep in this playoff to be a starter next year for this 49ers team.
Yeah, so I knew you would have maybe a more straightforward take than me, and I appreciate that. It's not horrible. It's just, to me, that's an L. I just would not spend my money that way. But,
no, I to be honest, I wouldn't spend my money that way either. But I understand the Brock Purdy a lot more than the Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Other than like other than like the Brees Hall, I mean, he was amazing when he was on the field. So,
But I mean, like, Oh My Shoes comes in here in the comments and says Sauce Gardner, if we were talking Jets cards, love that guy. So I actually like that comment by Oh My Shoes. Great work there. Because like I haven't looked this up, so I could be way off on this, but like if you can get a Sauce Gardner, like, I mean, they're not out yet, so I can't be right or wrong. But like if Sauce Gardner's Contenders rookie ticket autos or Optic rookie ticket autos for Contenders, or like, you know, like any of the like Optic Auto or Prism Auto, like any of the nice releases, if you can get a Sauce Gardner for like $30 or less, like I would buy multiple of those in the offseason because of the Jets market and who he is and how he's going to be shown in the highlight reel leading into NFL preview shows on Sundays. And so people get hype about Sauce Gardner and his nickname and all that. And
I mean, I
he
think
was
he's
number one for the Jets. And, you know, he put the cheese head on, didn't he, earlier this year in Green Bay? So
he's one of those guys that the media is easily riding around or like rising around. And I think that we've talked about this before too, but like that is another like X factor for card value.
Yes.
You know, like you can have these cards that these players are awesome, and if they're not in the media, then they're just, no one knows about them, you know, like, and so there's cards out there that are extremely undervalued because of the actual player, like the way that he presents himself on the field or in social media. And Sauce is definitely one of those X factors where he's just a guy that you're going to continue to see, you know, like, and I think that there are some franchises that have players that on other franchises or in other settings you would never know who they are.
Right.
But Sauce is a guy
On My Shoes
that you're gonna know.
All right, so speaking of the cheesehead in Green Bay, I got to use this segue to go into my win of the week, which is, I think you know this, Kendall. We did not talk about this, but my Detroit Lions, this is a Tigers hat, obviously, but my Detroit Lions beat the Green Bay Packers. For those of you who have listened to the Sports Card Strategy show, you know my deep-seated hatred for Aaron Rodgers. And bye-bye Rodgers, bye-bye Packers. Even when the Seahawks won yesterday, that game still meant just as much to me. I was like, you know what? The Lions absolutely now need to win this game, because if we eliminate the Packers, it's just as good as making the playoffs. So let's just eliminate the Packers, eliminate Rodgers, send him whatever BS excuses or things he's going to say. I'm so sick of that guy. I'm so sick of I'd rather see articles in ESPN about him justifying why he didn't make it as far, but I'm sick of that. So good job by my Detroit Lions. It could be that Jared Goff is actually our quarterback of the future. I'm trying to convince my son, Max. Maybe we were wrong earlier on in the season about that.
You're trying to convince yourself.
Trying to convince myself too. But if we do draft a quarterback, that's fine too. But Goff looks good, and the Lions, like, we're back, baby. 9-8, didn't make the playoffs, but it looks like we're back. Got a solid foundation to build on, and Lions going into 2023, I'm pretty excited about. So that's one of my wins of the week. I have a card-related win of the week. I'm going to go through mine real quick. So this Jordan Lawler that I talked about in the show, I think last week, it looks like a 10. You guys probably can't tell from me holding it up. And there's this weird $220 price sticker on it. I think I bought it for like $185. This is how it came, obviously, but this looks like a 10. I'm looking at it right now. It's from Burbank Sports Cards, and I'm submitting it to PSA, which is my other win of the week, which is the fact that, one second, sharing my screen. The fact that the announcement from PSA is that the value for PSA Collectors Club members only, which is, I am a Collectors Club member. Most of you should be as well if you're not already. Value bulk only went up $4 per card. So I was a little bit worried during the December promo that I might have missed at $15 a card some opportunities. But at a 20 card minimum for $499 max declared value, we can help you understand what that is. And they say a 65 business day turnaround, which is like 30 days less than even what their promo periods were. So $19 a card. It sounds like PSA is in a situation where they can turn it around. So we'll see. But to me, that's a win. I'm going to go back through with this Jordan Lawler card. I'm going to add at least 19 other cards that have just been sitting in my drawer that were not worth grading because I probably wouldn't get more than like maybe $30 for them in a PSA 10 and like maybe $15 in a PSA 9. But now if you're running the numbers and you're looking at it, like that could be worth the risk at $19 a card. Like if you're looking, so for those of you out there, some of you have asked me like how I do this. Basically what I do is I'll do some research on a card. And if the grading fee, if I already own the card and the grading fee is $19 a card, for example, I'll say, all right, well, if this in PSA 10 is selling for like $45 or more, and in PSA 9, it's going to be maybe like $15 to $20, I'll take the risk at $19 a card and just submit if I think it looks good and it could get a 10. To me, it's just fun to submit. It's fun to get it back. And there's the chance, the upside at a PSA 10, and you can flip it. And I do like, even if you get a 9, I do like the idea of selling for like a $4 to $5 loss for a good eBay seller experience, to get that rating. To me, Kendall and I have kind of talked about that little strategic aspect of the hobby is like, even if you lose a few bucks on a card, if you make the transaction, you never know where how that transaction with that buyer can help you in the future. Right. So Kendall, I got one more thing to my win of the week, which I thought was cool. And then I'll turn it over to you, but I did text you this. I was at the mall, and you guys know, like I've talked a lot about moving back to the United States. I love the fact that I'm back in the United States. I loved living in Europe for 5 years, but I am even more ecstatic that I am back in the United States. And the fan stand is a vending machine at the mall that got me pumped. So Kendall, I'm going to let you comment and let you do your win of the week. And I'm going to do something a little bit odd. The garbage truck just pulled up outside, and I don't have my garbage out yet. And if I don't put this garbage out, my family's going to kill me. So I will be right back. You take over the show. Comment on the fan stand, comment on your win of the week, and I'll be back in like 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It's all
right. It's the Kendall McKee Strategy Show now, boys. My win. Well, first off, I love the little card vending machine thing. I think that makes it extremely accessible for somebody at a younger age that can potentially pull. Just like for instance, you see Pokemon in that advertisement here, but for a kid that goes to the mall and wants a Pokemon card, wants to spend between $3 and $5 on a pack, I think this is one of the most exciting things that I've seen for the growth of the hobby. I think if these are actually popping up and if these are actually moving cards, I'm a big proponent of that. Sports cards over responsibilities any day. That's good. Oh, my shoes. I like that. He definitely wanted to be able to get his trash out, but we're talking sports cards. There's different priorities here, but I love the growth of the hobby that is doable from this kind of a thing with the card vending machine. I've seen other aspects of this where people actually did rent an actual like vending machine and then they just put cards in the slots. And they put them in local hobby shops and stuff like that with like vintage packs and things of that nature. But I love the aspect that these are going to be popping up all over our nation and potentially making the hobby more accessible for people. My win of the week, though, centers around some products that I've been opening. I was able to find Oh My Shoes, by the way, just flamed you, Paul, as saying sports cards over responsibilities any day, Paul.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. I let you all down on that one.
That was really quick, though. I'm proud of you. You must have been hustling. You got that tracksuit on. You already had your Hokas or your On Clouds laced up. Yep. But what I'm saying is, my win of the week is I've been able to get my hands on some cool products recently. one of the products that I didn't necessarily have access to, especially before the World Cup, because it was bought so much in our local retail stores, and I could just never find it, is Merlin soccer. And I was able to find 3 Merlin soccer blasters at Walmart this week, and it was my first time that I've actually opened just a blaster of product in months, man. Like, because I'm under the proponent that I either buy into break slots if the cards are too high price or obtainable, for instance, like a Jackson Holiday or something like that. I'm not going to go buy a Jackson Holiday auto right now, but I would spend $32 potentially getting the chance to pull a Jackson Holiday auto. But what I don't do normally is I don't buy wax normally, because I don't want to hold all these cards. I think we've talked about this at length before. Like, I am a big strategist around buying single cards, keeping singles, and moving singles in the future. Like, for instance, Lenny and I we've talked about Lenny quite a bit on this show, but Lenny is a fan of the show, and he's now a friend of mine because of how much we've talked. But Lenny will be like, "Hey man, like, I don't understand. Like, can you tell me like what you're buying?" And I was like, "Well, man, I don't buy probably as much as a lot of people, but I make very strategic buys and at a higher price point." Like, I remember the first time I bought a $150 card. I think it was at the time, I think it was a Jared Kelenic slab, which ended up, that did not go well for me. If there's any Kelenic fans out there, I am trying to liquidate my portfolio, so please reach out to me.
$5 per card.
Yeah, less probably. But anyway, I remember the first time I bought a $150 card, and I was like, man, am I crazy? Like, I just spent $150 on some piece of cardboard, with a guy's picture on it. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, if it's not with the exception of some Bowman Chrome autos, if it's not that level, then I'm just like, I don't want to mess around with making $3 to $5 on a play if I can afford to spend a $200 to $300, and I know that card is going to appreciate 3x maybe. Like, that's a good turn, and you're doing a lot less for a lot more at that point. So I think at any point in life, it's like new levels, new devils for sure. But I think you got to make money or you got to spend money to make money. And I think that's kind of what I'm doing right now. So my win of the week is I was able, though, to get some Merlin. I did end up pulling a really strange Yori autograph out of a blaster from a Merlin pack. This is like a $3 or $4 card, which is pretty funny. But anyway, I just had fun ripping the product, and 2022 draft has been really fun for us as well. We got a case of it, and we got it really, really cheap from, shout out to Texas Roadshow. We were able to get a whole case of 2022 Bowman draft from them at a great price. The Krim brothers were really cool about that, and we're able to move it pretty quickly for us. So at Wildcards, we were able to move this for like $32 a random team slot. So that's really obtainable for a product that gets really, really expensive. And we've pulled some awesome stuff out of it. We've pulled Jet Williams. We've pulled Jackson Holiday. We've pulled Trace Gonzalez. We've pulled like some cool stuff. And that's been really fun for our community. And I know a lot of you guys are ending up crossing over. There's more and more opportunities where I'm able to talk to people that are coming from Sports Card Strategy Show, or the other way where you're finding me at this when you're finding me from the breaks. And so again, like I said earlier, thankful for this community and thankful for the opportunity to just enjoy sports cards again, rather than, buying. It's different when you get to open it, especially when it's just like, of course, like I'm probably, just going to put these cards in a box or something like that. But it's fun to like relive that moment.
Yeah. Check out Wild Cards Box Breaks, everybody. That's what Kendall's talking about with his breaking company. And I need to check out the Krim Brothers Texas Roadshow shop. Check them out as well. They've made some good deals with me also. So before we end the win of the week, I just want to give a shout out to AG Cards. he could not comment because he was driving, but then he got to where he could comment, and he said he had a best offer accepted last week and got an invoice paid like normal with PayPal. So that's I guess it's not the same for everybody, which doesn't surprise me. But that was a reference to earlier on in the show where I said it was different for me, where my card was actually charged right away after my offer was accepted, which I thought was good as a, good for the seller. All right. So win of the week though, like if you have Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence cards, like, I mean, I did want to say, like, I think that's a win for everybody that is either holding their cards or that listened to us, and invested in some of their cards. And it's a win for us because those are two guys that Kendall and I made rather ballsy calls on the website. And I had them ranked, Jalen Hurts, number 2 and number 1 quarterback at times throughout number 2 and number 1 overall football card ranking, mostly throughout this season. And Trevor Lawrence was a guy like Patty Mahomes. People were down on Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence, and I had them ranked super high at nooffseason.com. So a couple more wins there as they head into the playoffs. And yeah, it sounds like Kendall's not buying Skylar Thompson, and we haven't talked about Sam Howell either. But interesting if you're holding Skylar Thompson or Sam Howell cards right now. Those are probably, I didn't really have a sell of the week, but I'm going to go ahead and skip buy and just go to sell. I'd probably sell those guys. And then I did have kind of one other comment on a sell of the week. And Kendall, I'm just going to go real quick here. I don't really have data prepared or anything like that with buy of the week. I figured for buy of the week, I'd take a little bit of a different angle on it and just kind of show you guys like the cards that I'm looking at buying. Like I'm considering buying more Anthony Edwards PSA 10s. And this would be a 2020 Prism Ruby Wave PSA 10. And my process is that I am scouring eBay and even, auctions. I'm doing less jumping in on auctions, and I'm doing more looking at buy it nows with the best offer. If it has a best offer, I'm making an offer that is less than the current, or less or right around the current comps, because you can't always offer less than the current comps, because if the seller's astute enough, they'll have like their low limit on the offer, not too low, right? So a lot of times you'll get denied right away if you try to make an offer that's too low. So you can't always offer lower than current comps, but I'm trying to give myself profit margin on my offers based on recent sales comps from market movers. And this card right now, I need to research a little bit more, but like where I'm going is, even if it doesn't have a best offer, you guys might already be familiar with this, but if you look at a buy it now and don't do anything else, even if you don't offer it, even if you don't add it to your watch list, eBay has the functionality to know that you looked at that card, and through cookies and other technology, let the seller know that somebody's looking at that card, and give the seller the option to make an offer to that potential buyer who's looked at that card. So this is a card that I just looked at, don't have the ability to make an offer, and got an offer from the seller that was pretty legitimate. So that's my process, considering buying more Anthony Edwards PSA 10s. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments on Anthony Edwards. And then Giannis, this is another thing, and Kendall and I kind of see these differently. But what happens with me with Giannis, he's my favorite player. And what happens with me is I'll watch him play. I'll be reminded of how dominant he is. And then, and I'll be reminded of how his actual autos and rookie autos especially are way out of my price range. And so then what I'll do is I'll be like, what Giannis rookie autos were signed by him after they were pulled out of the pack and then authenticated by either Beckett or PSA, and what price range are those? And so now I'm back to where I kind of was last year at this time is like looking at PSA DNA authenticated Giannis rookie autos. And so I haven't really pulled a trigger on any of those yet, but that's what I wanted to talk about during buy of the week. So I think I pretty much hit all of my buy and sell of the week, Kendall. And I didn't reference any data, but if you want to look at some data yourself, go to marketmoversapp.com, use the promo code no off season, get your first month for only $1. Check out that amazing tool.
Yeah, I think let me ask you a question here without sounding too anti what you just said. Is it a good time to be buying NBA cards right now?
It was a better time to be buying NBA cards in December. All of December was like the best time to be buying NBA cards. So comparatively, on January 9th, it's not as good of a time to be buying NBA cards because you're probably buying them as the prices start to ramp back up. But based on last year and the year before, NBA, if you're buying the right players, then NBA cards do rise in value approaching the All-Star break. And then once again, and then they dip a little bit. And then depending on what players you own, and you made the Tatum call last year, which was a great call. In May and June, they do rise again. And then they, of course, they do rise again actually during the summer league. So July is sort of this weird, depending on who you own, time to sell. So best times to buy are typically December. I would say April and August. So I wouldn't put January 9th in the category of the best time to buy, but I do think specifically with guys that you believe in, and if you can get the cards, depending on the cards at the right prices. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at going out and trying to buy just any NBA player, but specifically Giannis, Anthony Edwards, and then I have mentioned to a different extent, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not asking that out of like a, come on, Paul, are you dumb? What I'm saying is like, I'm watching this Thunder team that is doing something completely different than what I thought they were going to do. I thought they were going to suck. I thought they were going to put like some of the like least competitive, fun roster, but like not very competitive roster out there. SGA was going to be moved at the deadline, and they were going to, you know, pack in more, like probably 5 picks for him, you know, like, or something crazy like Sam Presti does. But this Thunder team is exciting. SGA is putting like he's 4th in All-Star votes right now, and I think he like if he ramps it up another level and that the Thunder somehow end up pushing for one of those late playoff spots, this guy could have a run at an MVP season. And so I'm thinking, okay, like is there still room to buy SGA or even Jalen Williams, who is coming on very strong right now? And I know he has some autos out there. I have a rookie card, like just a base rookie of Jalen Williams that somebody gave me at a Christmas party. But it's just like this Thunder team is exciting. They are not doing what I thought they would. At this point, I think they would be willing to trade Chet. I think, you know, like maybe not, but maybe if they're trading Chet for something that's kind of like a win now move, like maybe they just go and see how they can play in the playoffs. I don't know. Like, it's just interesting to watch this strategy because I think they're overperforming. They're shooting over their win total, I think. So
yeah, so I think there is room on Shea, like you're saying. So it's all about picking the right card. So basically what I just did is I went to marketmoversapp.com. Again, use the promo code no off season. If you don't have a premium subscription there yet, you'll get your first month for $1. So you can check this out for $1 if you're not already a Market Movers subscriber. Once you're in there, go to movements on the left and then type in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. It'll autofill it for you. And then check the boxes RC only for rookie card only and PSA 10. And then sort the column on the left by the prices that have been falling. Okay, because it'll sort it by what's up. And you don't, I mean, it's okay. Like you want to pick the right card, but typically my process is sort by what's dipped in value recently, because then you can look for a deal. And then you start looking for the card. Then if you know the card brands, and the parallels and whatnot, you know what to look for. So for example, I just pulled up, after doing that, I saw 2018 Optic Blue Velocity PSA 10 pop 263 is down over the last 14 days. It's down 14%. So to me, that would be a potential buy. And then you can see here, like the Prism red, white, and blue PSA 10 pop 448 is down 10%. So now you've got some profit margin, and that's what I'm doing with when I talk about Anthony Edwards, Jalen Green, Cade, Giannis. Like less on Giannis because that's just he's in a different stratosphere than the other guys. But Shea is right in there. He's not a guy that I'm buying, but I agree with Kendall that you should be looking at buying Shea, and that's how I would do it. That's how I would go about buying the cards. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, I think so. Katie did get lost this last week. Potentially, we're not sure how bad the injury is, but that could be super bad for the Brooklyn Nets. They were rolling. And I think Ben Simmons falling on him is even more poetic, like, geez. If the Nets just like ended their hopes because they went and got Ben, anyway, that's just poetic. But in terms of what are we on, buys of the week? Sorry.
Yeah, buy and sell.
Yeah, so I don't have any sells per se, other than like start looking at playoff quarterbacks. Unless their name is Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a long-term hold for me. But I think Jalen Hurts is a sell right now. I would be extremely interested in looking at Lamar Jackson prices over the next couple of weeks, because he didn't end up getting back in that Baltimore setting. They missed the playoff, or I guess they are in the playoffs, or did they miss it? No, they made it.
They play the Bengals again.
So I would be interested in looking at that, especially if he can't make it back for next week's first playoff game, because if he doesn't make it, Baltimore has little to no chance of making any progress in the playoffs. But if he's there and he's healthy, like, this team is electric. So, and they're going to have to figure out a contract situation. So I think that's something to at least monitor. I wouldn't say it's a buy or a sell right now. I would say it's a monitor. And I think these are some of the last opportunities to make a buy before pitchers and catchers report in a month. Like, we are close to that spring training run of saying baseball's
I'm ready to
back.
sell some baseball cards.
I know,
baby.
me too.
I've got some baseball, like my PWCC vault has so many baseball cards. I'm ready to liquidate those bad boys. And I've even got some baseball cards here with me that I'm ready to just list. I've got my Max Muncy, Endy Rodriguez, and Isaac Pacheco coming from the collector's vault. Should be here any day. I've talked about those on the show. I mean, I'm not gonna like fire sale them all just right at the beginning of the baseball season, but I'm just excited for the baseball season so that I can strategically start listing my baseball cards.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about it as well. I've got a big old huge indie fish that I don't know what I'm gonna do with. So there's some really cool stuff. I think vintage is interesting to look at this time of year, especially once the NFL season ends, like kind of looking at, okay, what are people like not buying right now? Where's the cycle not at? And I don't think it's as easy as it used to be in terms of just looking at off seasons. I think you do need a tool like Market Movers to look at this kind of stuff, but there will be meta changes where there will be like whole like sport is down, and then that's when you would just be trying to be smart and be tactical, or be as the sports betting world says, surgical about what you're doing and getting out there and making margins back, because there is money to be made in this asset class. And it's It's not as hard as you would think it is, but you have to think with an intelligent brain. You can't just be going out and buying whatever is right in front of you. So
yeah, you got to listen to the Sports Card Strategy Show, and you got to look at nooffseason.com. Basically,
that's exactly what I was saying.
Those are the resources that you're going to want to follow. And of course, market movers. But AG Card says, I'm the guy. I love AG Card. So for those of you that didn't listen to the Basketball Card Strategy Show last week, Gary and I had a great debate about how I had left KD out of my top 60 and Damian Lillard. I don't want to get into that right now. Go listen to that show. That gets all into that.
What a take.
But AG Cards, and some other intelligent audience members were having a debate with me in the comments after the show. And he says, I'm the KD guy from last week. I just wanted you to know that I'm holding you responsible for his knee injury. Just kidding. Like what you guys are doing and appreciate you all putting in the effort. Appreciate you, AG. So this is back to what Kendall said at the beginning of the show. This is what I love about our community is that I guarantee you that people's blood were boiling when I left KD off of my top 60 basketball card rankings, but we're able to have this kind of dialogue about it. And I appreciate that about the community. We don't hate each other because we might hate a take that one of us has. It's all love here on the Sports Card Strategy Show. And one more thing, Kendall, about we're about at the end of the show here, guys, but a couple of things I wanted to say related to the sell of the week for me. There's a bunch of new releases every month. This month, the one that sticks out to me that I wanted to sort of remind you guys about and caution you guys about what to do with is NBA Hoops. So NBA Hoops comes out this month. The reason why it's significant is because it may even come out before we air our next show. I don't know. I think it says January 14th, which would be before our next show, but those dates are always subject to change. And depending on where you live and all that stuff, you might get product at different times. If you see singles of NBA hoops on eBay, don't bid on them. If I'm ruining anyone's sales, I apologize, but I want everyone here to get value out of the show. These NBA hoops are the first cards in pro uniforms, and you'll start seeing the first autos for guys like Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, my guy Jaden Ivey. The list goes on and on. Great rookie class yet again. Don't buy the singles on eBay of these rookies and the rookie autos because Donruss is going to be coming, Prism's going to be coming, Optics, Select, National Treasures, Immaculate. They're all going to be coming. Hoops is going to be the first to take a nosedive. It's only going to have value for a very, very short runway. Now on the flips, so I wanted to put that in the sell of the week. So like basically what I mean by that is if you want to go to your local retailer and buy hoops and rip it and flip it right away, do it. Like sell hoops. Go make money, having fun, whether it's with yourself, with your family, whatever. Go buy NBA hoops at retail. Hope that you hit like a rookie ink of someone that like even Shaden Sharp, some rookie that, pretty solid. Keegan Murray's another one that's playing well this year. And rip it and flip it, list it. I might go do that, but I'm not going to buy the singles on eBay and I'm not going to hold NBA hoops. Those are mistakes I've made in the past, and I don't want you guys making them. Kendall, I think you might have a take on this next one. Before we end the show, another Slab Stocks graphic that caught my attention because it's a guy that I became familiar with. Joao Felix is a guy that Max and I became familiar with in Spain because he played for Atletico Madrid. He's Portuguese. And now we think he's like 22 or 23, but back when Max and I became familiar with him, he was like 18 or 19. And so he's kind of a guy that I've tracked like as a young stud. And so what happened with him is like his card market just like totally fell off a cliff. He was like one of these young phenom, like Pedri types. And so what we've seen with Felix is that basically he doesn't have much of a card market anymore, but now he's in the transfer news, right? Like there's these transfer rumors for him. So just kind of educate all of us on, like, is there a play here? Maybe with Felix or with in these types of situations, or to me, it's a little bit risky. Like it's kind of like I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy his cards. This graphic, for those of you who can't see it, shows that his cards are up 50. This particular 2018 Topps Chrome UEFA Champions League PSA 10 is up 58%, but it's up to only like $60. So like, is there a play here with him? And is he a guy that, like, with transfer news, you would be looking to get and then flip, or is it just like, well, if you've been holding him, there could be some good news for you because now you can sell him for something.
Yeah, I think this is kind of one of those things that makes a good Instagram post, because like obviously this is up 58%. Everybody's like cool, but then you look at Joao Felix is $22. It's just like a PSA 10, or I guess $60, up $22. A PSA 10 of Joao Felix, non-auto, just a regular chrome. Like, this guy does have some appeal, especially on a buy, because Cristiano is probably done with Portugal, like as a national team. And so you would think that Joao Felix and a couple of other guys are coming behind him, and that Portuguese team is still pretty good. It's not a guy that I would necessarily be in my top 100 buys right now. And so with the transfer news, he's probably going to go somewhere. Atleti is still like a big team though. So it's not like it's just it's not like it's going to give him more attention. I think it's just going to give him another spot to go sit on the bench if he's if he's at Chelsea or something. I'm not sure he plays at least every day. Like, of course he's going to play, and depending on which team he's going to, like, he could be a big transfer signing. But it feels like this guy is suffering from prospect fatigue. I mean, you're the same. Of course, you and Max have been following him for 5 years. So have I. And I'm just like, Joao's got to be 29.
Yeah,
and then you look and you're like, oh, he's pretty young still. And so, like, there's definitely some run here for him to take over this national team. But he's a guy that I'm completely out on with. I'm just like, I'm rooting for him, but not with my money, basically. So I think it does make a cool graphic though, and I'm proud of him for his price. His price is going up, and if you do have Joao Felix, then I would sell him. I have a friend actually who collects a lot of Felix cards because he's still a believer, and every time I'm like, dude, you should get rid of these. So I think there is an opportunity where he does become a premium player again, but I don't think he's Neymar. I don't think he's anything, top shelf like what we thought he was going to be when he was 18 years old. But I don't know. I'm willing to be proven wrong on Joao Felix.
Hey, that's another good sell of the week then. I like it, Kendall. Very well said out of you. And whether it's Joao, however you say it, Al, it's a sellout, I think. Let's sell it. Let's sell out, everybody. All right, Kendall, do you have anything else to add on this wonderful episode of the Sports Card Strategy Show before we head out?
Brother, I need to run, so just cue that rock music, my friend.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. I'm Paul Hickey, Kendall McKee. Everybody have a great day.